I can't really think of a much worse scenario than what unfolded in the second half tonight. You had a 9-point lead at the break. You had a nice lead going into the fourth. You lose at 107 or 103, and you lose Malik Monk in the game. Don't know what the status is, but you lost 2 games. All you had to do was win 1. Tonight was the game. You were in position to do so, and you lost. It's a bad, bad loss. And I'm not sugarcoating this. This probably prevents the Kings from being a top 6 seed.
I think that's a fair comment. I want to preface this by saying we don't have any new information on Monk other than he was ruled out. Sabonis, Grant, you saw this. He took it wasn't a fall. It was a pretty awkward step. So it didn't look like his ankle, his foot. We'll stay tuned to that. But here's what I have to say to you and the rest of the fan base. This was the Sacramento Kings season summarized in one game.
How about only 12 free throw attempts?
And we've talked about the margin of free throws, the difference from their makes, the number of makes they had last year versus just the number of attempts this year. They'll be lucky if attempts this year equal makes last year.
Really, a huge disparity. And the Mavs did not shoot the ball well from the line in this game, but look at how many times they got to the line. What a difference that is.
Yeah, it was. And the Kings, they got some burst behind the three-point line. I mean, their perimeter was where it was at. Harrison Barnes picked it up inside. But, yeah, Grant, the third quarter, to me, that's where the game was lost for the Kings. They got so many stops in that third quarter and really did nothing with them. And I don't know about you. That's when it's like, hey, they have Luka. They have Kyrie. Uh-oh.
I believe it was 8 consecutive stops that the Kings got in that quarter. And during that time, they only scored 1 basket.
Correct. They got to the free throw line 2 other times. And
that's your game. You're right.
That is your game.
Hey, you know what?
In a nutshell.
Excellent job by you, because we can talk about all 48 minutes, but I'm with you. That's where you lost the game. That's it. That's right where you lost it. To play that good a defense, and yet you only score 1 basket during that time. That's brutal. Now, you know, I got to look at the big picture here. This team's got to be demoralized right now. I don't care what anyone says. It's got to be demoralized, and they probably know right now whether Monk's going to be coming back anytime soon or not, or at least in the next game. Or this is a season-defining game that just went about as badly as you could have expected.
Exactly right, Grant. And I mean, in some ways, does it take the pressure? Let's assume the worst and hope the best, obviously. But if Monk is out possibly for the season, does that completely take the pressure off the Kings and the play-in and what they do in the playoffs?
Yes, it changes everything. You now have a legitimate excuse to use.
Define excuse.
If that scenario were to unfold, which I really hope it doesn't. I mean, Malik's had such a tremendous year.
Contract year.
Yeah, be brutal. So we just wait and see. This is I'm not sure, you know, listen, everyone that was with me and you heard what I had to say on Tuesday. I said I'm not making any excuses. You know, I said I believe the Kings are going to play well on Friday, and I think they're going to bounce back. You know, I got to tell you, I thought the Kings played pretty well tonight. I thought they got sloppy when they couldn't afford to be sloppy, but they lost to a really good team. Dallas is good. I got to give them credit, Ryno. They're good. And when Luka and Kyrie are playing the way they are playing right now, they're tough to beat.
100%, Grant. The credit goes to Dallas. They are a better team than the Kings. Period.
Yep.
End of story. And, you know, for the Kings, I don't think you could have asked for more. You get Kessler Edwards that comes off the bench, gives you a spark. You get the lift up where you needed it the most, and it still really wasn't enough. It was not enough for this team to get over the top. And I don't know. It's a tough place, Grant. I don't know where they turn. I don't.
Well, and I'm just saying, if Malik Monk is out for any extended period of time, there's no way that this team is getting a top 6 seed. It's just not
Mm-mm.
happening. Not happening.
No chance. And the reason that I paused for a second there is because I was thinking I was thinking through the game, and I'm like, okay, good. Was that no? The reality to me, Grant, and tell me if you agree, is the Kings were either really good tonight or they were making mistakes or
Yeah.
missing open shots. It falls into those 3 categories.
Well, definitely a really difficult night. You can make yourself feel better by getting to Bennett's and
Yeah.
enjoy their prime seafood and steak. 3 locations: Sacramento, Roseville, and the West Side Grill in Rockland. Just go to bennettsrestaurants.com, make a reservation, check out the menu and more. That's Bennett's Restaurants. And don't forget, tomorrow, a great idea for brunch. And don't forget about their prime rib special on the weekend. 60 different types of wine available by the glass. Just go to bennettsrestaurants.com. Wish we had better news tonight. This news is just, there's no good news anywhere from this game. None. You know?
No, I'm not going to say it gives you closure on the season. There's still a lot of basketball. Anything can happen. That's why they roll the ball out there. But I think Kings fans can kind of take a breath now. It's not what's going to happen, assuming, Malik is unavailable for any period of time.
Okay, but I'm going to use another team that has a major injury,
You're right,
and it hasn't stopped them at all, and that's the New Orleans Pelicans, right?
Yep,
They lose Brandon
100%.
Ingram, and they haven't skipped a beat, okay? And so that's why you have so many players on your roster. You've got to figure it out. And I'll tell you something, Ryan, I hate to keep on putting pressure's not the right word, but the expectations. This is where you need De'Aaron Fox to go from here up to here. Okay? This is where De'Aaron Fox has got to put this team on his back and go, let's go, boys. We're going to be okay. All right? He's got to be the De'Aaron Fox that I saw in the playoffs last year, Ryno, before he broke his finger. That's what you need.
Absolutely. Grant, what's in there with him. So maybe this is his opportunity to step up and be that voice. And I'm going to be fair. I didn't have a problem with De'Aaron Fox the way he played tonight. I thought his threes was the best shot they could get at the time. Did you have any issues with what you saw with him?
Not really. I know he's being criticized a little bit here on social media and some other things. He was 9 of 22. He had 23 points. But I guess what I'm saying is, without Monk, and he's not out there trying to miss shots. Don't get me wrong, but without Monk, you need him to be scoring 30 every night.
Absolutely. Let's go down this roster, and I think it's fair to maybe start or kick off this conversation because we've seen both sides of the world. The Kings and Keegan Murray surprised this year. Keegan Murray, I think he lived up to what the realistic expectations were from year 1 to year 2.
I agree.
What were your thoughts on him, Names? Good?
I think defensively, he's bringing it every single game. There are very few times that I've said after game, gee, you know what? Keegan just wasn't there tonight. Now, there have been a number of games where offensively he's not been there, all right?
Yes.
But on the other side of the ball and what he brings to this team, which, by the way, is their biggest need, he provides that every single night. So,
Spot on.
if I'm going to give him a report card from year 1 to year 2, he's getting a big time passing grade with flying colors.
Okay, there you go. So I agree with you 100%. Malik Monk, we can both agree. I think he's played beyond expectations this year.
Sixth man of the year.
Likely, yes, will be the 6th man of the year. Fox, we're not going to open Pandora's box on him because that's a bigger, more robust conversation. And Domas, one word to summarize Domas's play this year, Napes. Besides consistent.
Well, I know it sounds like doom and gloom right now, and I am kind of doom and gloom because I'm looking at the big picture. And again, I'm only speaking hypothetically here because we don't know. But if Malik Monk is out for an extended period of time, this team is in deep, deep trouble. And if for some reason he's not on that road trip coming up next week, okay, that starts in New York,
the East Coast
and goes
road
to
trip?
Boston, Brooklyn and Oklahoma City, the Kings may not win a game on that trip.
100%, Grant. Even if they had a healthy roster going into Boston and New York on
Oh
back-to-back
boy.
nights, forget about it. So we've established those four, okay? And I think
Yep.
we can agree this Kings team has played a couple different styles. Towards the end of the year, it was more defensive geared. Start of the year, it was a run back of last year.
Well, yes. Interesting that you're yes, that's a great way of saying it. I'm gonna go one step further here. You know, we're not just talking about no Malik Monk. We're talking about a team now that has no Trey Lyles, no Kevin Huerter, and no Sasha Vezenkov, even though I'm putting Sasha down at the bottom of the list there.
And no need to rush him back. No need to rush him back at this point if Malik's hurt.
Okay, but I'm gonna talk this about Sasha. He's been questionable now. He's been questionable leading up to the Toronto game and still has not been able to go. If Monk is out for any amount of time, you absolutely need to figure out a way to get Sasha on the floor, because he does do one thing that the Kings are sorely lacking right now without Monk. He can shoot the deep ball. But, you know, if he's not ready to play, he's not ready to play. But I guess what I'm trying to say here, Ryan, you can overcome an injury. You really can't overcome 4 injuries. You can't. You got one starter who's out for the year in Huerter. You got arguably the 6th man of the year who's going to be out for maybe a while. You have another valuable role player in Trey Lyles who's been out for a couple of weeks and it isn't close to coming back. I mean, that's really hard to overcome.
It's nearly impossible, and it's the complete opposite of last year.
Yes, it is the complete opposite of last year. Yeah.
We said that it wouldn't be the same, and I don't want to play last year this year, but it does pertain to this conversation that I want to try to have with you. So we've established that. And as for Sasha, I agree with you. You got to find a way to get him on the court, but with him being questionable for so long, and I don't have a lot of optimism, but I hope so. Okay.
I don't either. I do have optimism if I need a repair issue solved. If I have a question about my plumbing, I go to sackserviceplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. And remember, they're available around the clock 24/7 for your plumbing needs and repairs. Remember, New Works Plumbing, the number on your screen, or sackserviceplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. I don't think they have a fix for all the Kings injuries right now. And boy, oh boy, this is just a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, but I think there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And I guess that's kind of what I'm getting to. And you hit on it with Fox and the last 15 games, whatever, maybe an opportunity for him to step up. Well, here's the reality. You've had a Kings team, Grant, that's played 2 different styles. You've also had a front office that has been very patient to make any moves. Okay. And now that we're seeing the Kings' explosive players or their core suffer injuries, we are now seeing that the Kings are kind of left with mostly defensive players, guys that are not offensive. Offense isn't their strength. And Stockton, let's talk about this really quick. Sorry, I'm being long-winded. I'll tie it up in a second. Stockton has been developing talent hand in hand with Sacramento. Those guys have been staying ready in the moments that they need to come in. Kessler Edwards tonight, example 1. Talked to him a month ago. 2 things he said. Up here, stays there. Second thing he said, basically to paraphrase, he could score 30 or 40 points if he wanted to in Stockton, but those aren't the looks that he's going to get in Sacramento with the main roster. He's going to be running the wing. He's going to be shooting perimeter threes. So, Grant, I asked you, with this offseason coming up and now this 15-game stretch with Monk in the lineup or not, could this be a bigger thing on which way the Kings may decide to go, Grant? And I'm not saying losing players, but where's the focus going to be? Offense or defense? Clearly, they have to make a decision. And as the roster is set right now, it is defensive.
The way the game is played now, you need offense to win. You just do. I mean, the way the game is structured now, the game is not structured towards defense. This game is structured towards offense and 3-point shooting. And the reality is, if you don't shoot threes in the way the NBA's played today, you have no chance of winning. So I'm going to answer the question this way. If you're going to make a complete shift to defense, you're not winning in the way the game's played now. Okay, you're just not. Are there exceptions? Maybe the Knicks are an exception, but they also have some really talented offensive players like Brunson
Yes.
and Randall when he's healthy. And so, but not a lot of teams play the Knicks style. And in this Western Conference, when you look at all the teams, what do? They all score, right? They all score. And so you're not
Agreed.
winning. You're not winning with defense. And listen, I understand what you're saying about Kessler Edwards, but if you're getting to a point of the season where you have to depend on Kessler Edwards for your success, you're in trouble. Yeah, because he's a role player. Okay, he can be a good role player, but he is what he is. I'm going to go back to what I said 15 minutes ago. We don't know about Malik Monk. He could be playing in the next game. We don't know. But let's just assume for our sake of conversation that he can't. You need your two best players, starting with De'Aaron Fox, because he's your quarterback, to elevate themselves. They've got to be – De'Aaron Fox has to now turn into Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Steph Curry. All right? And I know he can do it because I've seen him do it. He's got to do it every single game.
Strong words.
Well, you tell me who else on the team are you going to rely on to be that star, to have that superstar potential? What I saw from Fox last year in the playoffs was superstar level. I saw it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say if you're going to say superstar potential, it would probably go Fox, Monk, Sabonis. Do you disagree?
No, I do not disagree. No,
potential.
I don't disagree. No,
I talked everybody's ear off. Sorry for being long-winded. It's just it seems like that's kind of the looming thing, and I think we might see something like you said, Fox stepping up. So, got some people that want to take some calls. You want to take some in a second?
Let's take some for sure.
All right, let's do it. Let's get to the phone lines. We bring in Michael. Welcome into the show tonight.
Tough loss. I mean, yeah, I have to give Dallas some credit though. My gosh, Kyrie Irving's been clutch. Even some shots that were well defended, and he still knocks it down. Like, come on.
He's a big time player.
You know, there's nothing you can do.
He's a big time player. He's a head case, but when he's on, and he was on tonight.
Yeah. Yep. We got to watch out for the Houston Rockets, by the way. I mean, they are on a roll. I mean, Rockets are no joke. I mean, they were on 22 wins last year, and then now they are a much improved team. You know?
They are a much improved team. And that, I'm glad you brought that up because we keep on talking about 7. The Kings are now 8. And they listen, this thing could go from bad to worse in a real hurry here with a couple of losses.
We don't match up well with the Rockets. That's a problem. Big problem. We don't match up well with the Rockets.
Well, I think that bottom of the Western Conference play-in, I think it's rough for the Kings either way. I think if you play the Rockets, you haven't won this year. If you possibly play the Lakers, you've beat them 4 times. It's not easy to beat a team 5 times.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, again, Jerry Reynolds talks about this all the time.
Yeah.
There's a reason why every arena has a big board over the arena. It's called a scoreboard because the scoreboard is used to keep score, to keep the points. And, the Kings right now offensively are very limited if they don't have Monk. We know they don't have Butler, they don't have Lyles. That's why Fox has got to turn into Superman here for the final game.
He has to step up. Fox needs to step up big. And unfortunately, I just hope Malik Monk's okay, though.
Yeah, we all do.
And I'm just so tired of Draymond Green. He got ejected. I think this is his 4th time, right?
4th time this year.
I don't know when is he going to grow up.
He's not. He is who he is. He's been in the league for a long time. He only has a couple years in his career left. He's not. He is who he is, and the Warriors know that, and Steph Curry knows that, and the league knows that, and there's really not much you can do. That's who he is, and he's not going to change.
Yeah.
And so do his sponsors. His latest ad campaign addresses, or at least pokes fun at his behavior on the court.
Yeah, let's not waste our time talking about him, Michael.
I agree with you. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for the call tonight, man. We appreciate the support.
Appreciate it, guys.
Michael, thank you. Hey, Ryno, we always talk about like the great work that Gold Country Veterinary Hospital does. You ready for this?
Uh-oh. I am
Yes.
ready.
All right.
Let's do
These
it.
are some of the unique and interesting cases over the last 24 hours at Gold Country Veterinary Hospital. They did a C-section, Bengal cat, C-section for a Jack Russell Terrier and a Boston Terrier. All 4 eyelid entropion repair. Basically, that's eyelids that roll in a sharp A. Okay. They did a head CT of a dog with a nasal tumor and amputated the tail of a Great Dane. So I think the picture that I'm trying to provide to you is that Gold Country Veterinary Hospital does it all. And if your pet is in need, that place is the place to go. All right. They are in Auburn, serving the foothills, Roseville, the greater Sacramento area. Their care is phenomenal. They have the latest in pain protocols. They do it all. They are a full-service veterinarian hospital. That's Gold Country Veterinarian Hospital. Incredible what they do on a daily basis there. Just incredible.
It almost sounds like it's not real, but it is. We have met Dr. Griffiths, and the work is amazing, like you said.
It's amazing.
So shout out to them. And they got Jerry Reynolds off the Nerf balls. Yes.
There you go. All right, let's get to some more calls.
Yeah, let's do it. We haven't seen this guy for a while. Chang, welcome to the show tonight.
Hey, guys. Heartbreaking loss. And I think, I haven't been on the show because I've been really looking forward to these Dallas games because, I really want to see the Kings in a really test for our playoffs. And it's unfortunate that, there are both losses. I think for myself, there's a lot of injuries, but again, for me, I think there's no excuses. Their star players just outperform our star players at times. And I think for me, Grant, you mentioned this. Do you just feel like now there's less pressure on the team, or do you still feel there's pressure on this team to
I think
still
pressure,
make it?
I think pressure is an overused word in sports. The guys in the locker room, they don't really talk about pressure because this is what they do for a living. And we in the media and the fans talk about pressure all the time. There's more pressure on management and coaches than the players because the players have guaranteed contracts and they're set for life. There's a lot more pressure on the coaches, to believe it or not, in the front office, especially when you have a very what adjective am I looking for to describe Vivek Ranadive? Very impulsive owner. So the pressure is more on the coaches and the front office, in my opinion. That's where the pressure is.
I guess my question is, do you feel like this team has an asterisk for this year because so many injuries are happening in the late game? Or do you still feel like, no, when we're healthy, we're still having so many inconsistencies where we're having bad losses, even when we're healthy? And now these injuries are piling up right now. And it just kind of seems like feels like this isn't our year. We can kind of take a step back. Or is it still kind of, well, when we were a healthy team, hey, we weren't still doing great. So
it's a great question. My opinion is, when I looked at this team healthy, they still were too inconsistent for me and had areas of big concern. Ryan kept on pointing this out, the difference in wins and losses. We keep on talking about the net rating or the point differential. So in my opinion, I'm not going to let the injuries that we're seeing now camouflage the big picture. And by that, I mean, I think the Kings are a good team, and I've said that all along. They're nothing more than a good team, and they're not a threat. Even with being healthy, they're not a threat to win the West. And so you still are going to have to retool this thing, not completely break it up and start from scratch. But what you have right now, in my opinion, is not going to work to get to where you want to be. And that's playing in the Western Conference Finals with a chance to get to the finals. I don't see it happening with this roster.
Spot on. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Oh, no. So I think that brings up my question is, I feel like maybe most of our fans are looking for, next season, the kind of the build up, because are we going to be improving offensively or defensively? Because you both mentioned, the first half when we were healthy, we're this offensive firepower. And because of injuries, we've had to shift to be more defensively. I almost feel like we want to lean into offense and Mike Brown could teach the defense, but I almost feel like that still hasn't worked out, to be honest, with this roster. So we still looking for defensive-minded players now that, have offensive game. I guess maybe that's my question to you both is, what do you think this team, if we're improving, are going to lean on? Where we want
first
to
of all,
be
those players don't grow on trees. Those players are very difficult to come by.
Yeah. Chang, here's what I would say. I have no idea what the future is going to be and which direction they'll go, or if they'll mix in the middle, whatever it is. But here's what I do know. Championship franchises that have windows to win championships, they don't happen overnight. And this has been a natural progression for the Kings. And when I look at this season, I see box checked, box checked, box checked. And the other box that I see that's checked is the Kings are not committed too much to one thing. They are still flexible. So I don't know what more fans would have wanted from this year outside of a championship.
I know. I agree. No, I agree. I think, we've seen, I feel like we've seen maybe individual improvements with Keegan's defense, Fox taking a little bit better, Sabonis a little bit better, but I'm not sure. It just seems a little odd because, I feel like last year we're just more confident, and I'm not sure if this year is just a better assessment of our talent of our team that, with.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off. You're making some very good points. Here's something from PK says we are banged up. That's all it is. No, that's not all it is. This team is struggling. Even when they were completely healthy, they were having too many bad losses. So there's more to it than just being banged up. But yeah, I guess there's a lot of different ways you can look at this. If Monk is out for an extended period of time and this team doesn't make the playoffs, I'm just telling you, that's not acceptable to Vivek Ranadive. I know Vivek. I know how he thinks, and I know how he goes about running his franchise. And it's not going to be a pleasant place to be for the front office and the coaching staff. Trust me on that.
There's going to be a lot to talk about this offseason, regardless of what happens. I think that it's going to be a busier offseason, but I agree with you 100%, Grant. And I don't want to speculate, but do you lean one side or the other? Do you think that would be like a personnel change or a front office change?
That's a great question. I'm not ready to answer that right now, but I'm going to say this, and this is not going to be something that's going to be well received by many of you. I need more from De'Aaron Fox than I've seen this year. Okay? I need more from leadership. I can't have a 3-week spell of not talking to the media because he's had his feathers ruffled over a comment or what have you. I can't have too many games where he looks disinterested and not really in the flow. And then other games, he looks all world. I can't have that for my franchise point guard who I'm paying a max contract to. Can't have it. Okay? I need him to be maybe not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but I need him to be right there. And the reason why I'm putting this on him is I've seen him and the capabilities that he has to be that guy. But I need him to be that guy 90% of the time instead of 60% of the time or 70% of the time. Okay? That's what I need from De'Aaron Fox. I'm not seeing it. And I'm disappointed because when I see a player play the way he did at the end of or most of last year, Mr. Fourth Quarter Hero, the stat, and see how well he played against a generational elite superstar talent in Steph Curry. And then I see him disappear too often this year, sulking and, looking disinterested, blowing off the media. That's not going to fly for me. That's not the guy that I'm going to war with. So I'm putting a lot of this on him.
No, I agree, Grant. I think my last comment is, look at Jalen Brunson with the Knicks. They're banged up, but Jalen Brunson is still able to carry his team. And I agree with you, Grant. I believe in De'Aaron Fox that he can carry this team. And I think these injuries are the adversity maybe this team needed for Fox to come out. And maybe this team's been too healthy. He could take a step back, but hey, this is the time where our superstar carries the team, where injuries happen and, you need the superstar to really just hold the fort down. If people are going to come back from injuries, Fox has to take over the game. I feel like if we're going to make a run, it's because of Fox is going to be locked in. And I hope he bounces back from these Mavs games because I think this is really going to be a test of his fortitude and his leadership of, hey, I know these were bad losses, but I'm going to carry the team. So I think, these last games, I'm going to be looking at Fox to be really taking the, load from everyone else. So,
Great call. Thank you
Great
very
call,
much.
Jay.
Thank you, guys.
Ryan, I just want to refresh everyone's memory here. Here are your remaining games. All right.
Yep.
Up next, the Jazz, okay, on Sunday. Clippers, then on the road for those 4 games: New York, Boston, Brooklyn, Oklahoma City, home New Orleans, home Phoenix, home Portland. And again, I'm saying, I keep saying if, because I don't know, nobody knows. If you don't have Malik Monk, you're going to be lucky to win any of those games. Okay? And we know how the Kings play against inferior teams like the Jazz. I'm not expecting them to just roll over the Jazz. The Clippers, if you don't have Monk, then you're that road trip, then you have New Orleans and Phoenix. This thing could get ugly real quickly.
You're right. You are absolutely right. And I don't want to rain on the parade any further, but again, Domas played through that foot thing, whatever it was. And Domas usually shakes a lot off. That seemed like it was kind of bugging him. So that if that were to happen, Grant, and we're going to get to Dash here in a second, that would be De'Aaron Fox time. It's exactly what you're talking about.
Well, here's the deal. You're right now in 8th place with 31 losses. The Lakers are 2 losses behind you. Now you have the tiebreaker over them. That's substantial. I don't think the Kings fall any further than 8th, but it looks to me right now that your first, and I'm not discounting Phoenix, I'm just projecting. I think Sacramento's going to be playing Phoenix in a 7-8 play-in. That's the way it looks to me right now. Now, could that change? Yeah, of course it could change. I'm just trying to project what I think we're going to see.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 10 games, the last 10 for the teams that we're talking about where the Kings may play in the play-in, or the 7 games. And I don't know, the Warriors 6-4, Grant. The Lakers 7-3, the Kings 6-4. Okay. The Suns 6-4, the Mavs 9-1, the Pels 7-3. The problem is the Kings have lost one. A lot of those teams have multiple wins in a row. So some of them seem to be hitting their stride.
I know. Baki, man, let's get to you over in Belgrade. Baki, it's I know I can see it. I can see the anguish all over your face, my friend.
Well, I don't know where to start, man. We all know who the Fox is, and he's the fastest player in the league, with the ball, without the ball. He's the most talented player in the Sacramento and maybe in the league. But I'm holding this very long time. I must spit it out, and I'm not saying nothing towards you two guys, but I only want to say it loud and clear, because there is a lot of things about him. I start to write on the paper. Let's say you said something about sloppy. Who's sloppy? You said something about who's fighting on the court. You say who's shooting threes. You're saying, and everybody in the league, not only people around the Sacramento, is
Hey, Baki. Baki, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's this important. Coach Brown just spoke to a group of reporters on Malik Monk's injury. We've got to have the next man up. Nobody's going to fill Malik's shoes, so we just have to try and do it by committee. Take it for what it will be. Baki, sorry to cut you off.
Well, that's not what you wanted to hear.
No,
it's not what you wanted to hear.
I was afraid because Luka is very heavy player, and he slams that knee of Malik, and
it wasn't that, Baki. I don't think. It's not my body. I think it happened prior.
Yeah, if you're a coach, you don't make that comment unless you know it's bad. You would have never. I'm reading between the lines here, because we don't have right now. The information is sketchy. But if a coach says that tells you all you need to know.
They have MRI immediately. So,
well, here's the thing. Let's look at timelines really quick, okay? When Domantas Sabonis last season had the avulsion fracture, there was probably a 48-hour window where news was slow. There was really no news right around Christmas. Kevin Huerter, we just found out that he's having surgery. So Malik Monk, to get that comment from Coach Brown, Grant, I'm with you. I don't think you can read it any other way.
I think it's very bad. I think it's very bad, and it just sucks because the guy has had a tremendous season. I think he's the leading candidate for 6th man of the year. I don't think with 9 games left or whatever's left that would change that. But if he's lost now, there's just no chance. I'm just telling you, there's no chance this team's going to be a top 6 seed, and they're probably going to be 8th, maybe 9th. I mean, this is awful. Tonight's about as bad of a night as it's awful. You lost and you lose Malik Monk, and it's awful.
But the Kings, again,
That's what
I don't think it's the King. It wasn't awful like we've seen awful to a terrible team this year. It's just awful. It's what you don't want to see.
Go ahead, Baki.
Ryan, you said one good thing on the start of the post game. You said this is the game which shows us complete season of the Sacramento Kings, and I'm 100% with you with what you said. But I'm gonna go back to what I say. With Fox. I mean, a lot of players are definitely improved. I mean, Ellis and all the other players from the bench, they improved. Maybe not 50%, but maybe 10 or 20. But they improve. They fight. They are trying to do everything. You can count every player what he's doing. But what is happening with Fox? I think the guy is not. He's still having fun on the court. He's still having take this game as a joy. How many times he passed the ball out of the bounds? How many times he lost the ball? And let me ask you, if you have player shooting after 10 seconds of the possession ball, you're leading 5-6, and he's shooting threes like I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand that kind of game, because not only to be sloppy, but I mean, Fox must understand he's not the best player in this team. This is Sabonis is leader of this team for me. Okay, if you ask me, Sabonis is the leader of this team. Maybe Fox gonna be a leader in 2 or 3 years.
He's not going to be a leader. If he's not a leader now, he's not going to be a leader in 2 or 3 years. He's in his 8th year. If you are who you are by now, you don't become a leader. You either are a leader or you're not a leader. So I don't agree with you. It is what it is.
So do you think he's a leader before Sabonis?
I don't think a guy that blows off the media for 3 weeks and sulks and carries himself the way he has on too many times is a leader. So no, I don't consider him a leader. That's me.
I might get in. I might.
Me too. That's my point, because I was just saying all the league is speaking about Kings. I mean, you ask sometimes you ask how is happening that other players not having enough attempts in the game. How can you have enough attempts if Fox shooting threes like rain? I don't know. I don't understand that kind of a game. Sorry, I don't.
Well, it's diverging styles, right? It's contrasting styles. You got Sabonis under the basket, and you have Fox, who used to go to the basket more. Now he shoots more threes. The 3-point percentage is higher. But also, Baki, it's today's NBA too. Here's what I'll say to the league.
Yeah, Ryno, we talk about.
Hold on. I want to get this in. Here's what I'll say about the leadership with Fox, and I might get in trouble for it. I think he wants to be, or I think he is a leader when he wants to be a leader. I think when things are good, he's there and smiling. When things are bad, you know they're bad.
But do you know the team in the NBA who, when the car going downhill, who is stopping that car slower than the Kings? I don't see it. I don't see it, because you say it's a style of the play. What kind of the style is if you have a player who is taking the ball and shooting threes and everybody's just stay? You have Dallas Mavericks playing with 2 players, And thank you, Grant, to pass my words to Jerry in the halftime, because that was the point. I mean, for me, that was how did we finish this game? Doubling Luka and putting Exum on the third time, trying to shoot alone like a ghost. Trust. That's it. He cannot miss the 3-point shoot 3 times in a row. This is not happening.
Bucky.
So you're doubling Luka whole lot. Dallas played nothing. Those guys just stay there on the line and waiting Kyrie Irving and waiting Luka to dribble it out and just to wait for the mistake. And they wait. And whenever we made a mistake, there's a pass and there is a score.
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. It's a bold statement, but I'm going to make this prediction. I always predict things before it happens. If the Kings lose to the Jazz on Sunday, they may not win a game the rest of the year.
Yeah, then they can go and shooting 65% of the threes and win every game.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Baki, we got Dash waiting. I want to get to him. He's been waiting for a while, but thank you so much for the call all the way from Serbia, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. We were always great hearing from you. Hey, Ryan, real quickly before we get to Dash, I want to tell you about Fosters and Paws. They're a group of animal advocates. They do a phenomenal job, and they right now have puppies available to be adopted. And if you go to fostersandpaws.org/adopt, you can adopt a puppy, and you will be happy. And Fosters and Paws, they're always happy with working with the animals. And I love the fact that they work with youth and teach them lifelong benefits of having a pet. So if you go to fostersandpaws.org/adopt, you can adopt a puppy.
Yes, indeed. Welcome in, Dash. Thank you so much for waiting. You're on with Napes and Ryno. Uh-oh. Where'd he go?
There we go. I got him.
Got him?
Dash, what's up?
Look, first of all, I'm hearing out about injuries today. Injuries. Look, this team was losing to the worst ranked teams in the NBA before injuries. This team was blowing 20-plus point leads before injuries. Okay? So I don't want to hear anything about injuries, period. Secondly, with Fox situation, I've been saying all year, it's not only Fox, it's this team's DNA. When we're down or when the time gets tough, we take dumb shots. And what those shots are?
Amen.
3 points with hands in our faces. Terrible one-on-one basketball play. It's like we forget how to move. It's like we forget how to pass. We're just shooting up threes. So that Fox three today on Dante Zoom, when he should have been driving, because in any other game or in any other situation, if we're up, Fox is taking that to the hole. But for some reason, when this team is under pressure, we're just lobbing up threes. And not even today when we need to come back because it's a blowout or something. The game is tight. Make it play. And that's not only a Fox thing. That's this team's DNA thing. And we're not talking enough tonight. That also goes to coaching. If you give green light and you're a three-point shooting team, you don't have enough shooters on this team right now to be a three-point shooting team. Attack the hole.
But to be fair, Dash,
go ahead.
Dash, to be fair, Mike Brown's kind of changed his tune on the three-pointers. Just at practice the other day after the first loss to Dallas, he said 35 to 40. And I think that's exactly the number I said a week ago that was the range they should be in. So I think he's tried to dial it back.
Yeah, but when you do it for 2 years and then you try to dial it back in 2 weeks, it's not going to happen. You've coached the team a certain way for 2 years, right? So I'm just saying, I think even in this chat or podcast today, we've kind of alluded to it. We didn't make any moves at free agency. We didn't make many moves at offseason because we said, hey, we had a great year last year. Let's see what's going to happen. We've seen what's happened. OKC, beasting. Rockets, great players. There's a lot of talent in the West, right? So now it's like, hey, and I don't want to talk about this because the season's still going on, but really from this team, who are the players you must keep? And we've kind of alluded to it a little bit in this conversation. For me, it's Monk, Sabonis, Fox. To be very honest, Monk is the only player that I trust When we're down, when we're bleeding, he's the only one this year that has stopped the bleeding. Not Fox, not even Sabonis, because when things get physical, Sabonis is great. But when he gets in that post and it's physical, he makes some bad plays, looking for a foul, turning the ball over. Fox turns the ball over a lot, being nonchalant, like Baki was just alluding to. I think there was something lost in translation there. What he was trying to say is he's sort of nonchalant with his attitude. Monk is the guy that I see with fire. Even when we're down 20, he's going to the hole. He's attacking every single time. Apart from those three, though, we got to make some moves. I don't know,
So
man.
really
I'm
quick,
just upset.
Dash. Thank you. Great, by the way. Malik Monk is in the locker room, but he's not talking to the media, so he's still with the team. Just a quick update. I'm Grant. I'm going to kick it to you, but I'm going to respond just with the names, Dash, to your question. My list: Sabonis, Murray, Ellis, and Monk. Grant?
Oh.
I'm not even ready to start thinking about next year yet. I'm just not. I mean, the Kings are in a race to get a playoff spot. They're maybe playing tournament, and I'm not really thinking about, what they should do in the offseason. I'm one of those that let's wait till we get to the finish line, and then let's talk. Right now, you got a game coming up.
You already see the line, Grant. You already know what it's going to be.
And I get it, Grant, but we already talking about that today.
But like, think about where this show has gone tonight. Think about this.
Yeah.
We've gone from a team losing a huge game where a key player was injured, and we're not talking at all about the next game on Sunday and the game after that against the Clippers. We're spending too much time talking about who the Kings should keep and what they're going to do in the offseason. Well, why don't we just wait until we get to the offseason? Like, there's a lot going on right now in the middle of the season. As Mike Brown said at his post-game press conference, we can't replace Malik Monk. It's going to have to be by committee. Well, we need to figure out what that committee is going to be. Is Sasha going to be coming back? Is that going to help out the three-point shooting? What does that mean for Kessler Edwards? What does that mean for, Davion Mitchell? Are they going to start playing 25 minutes a game instead of, 10 minutes or 15 minutes? We'll get to the offseason when we get to the offseason. Clearly, Sabonis isn't going anywhere, okay? You don't know if you're going to be able to keep Malik Monk because he's a free agent. I would assume Fox isn't going anywhere. I know the Kings love Keegan Murray, but other than that, I think every single player on the roster could be moved, could be dealt, but why don't we deal with that in a couple of weeks?
Well, Grant, one point, to your point, the reason why we just talked about that is because even you just said earlier in the show is like, we know this team is not going to win the Western Conference, but as fans, of course, that's our desire, right? We want to win the championship, and I get it. But one thing, Grant, you mentioned Fox, Ryan, you didn't mention Fox. Why was that? That's what I want to know. You think Fox is dispensable for this team?
No, I don't think Fox is dispensable whatsoever for this team. And I side with Grant. I don't want to get too far into it, but if I am strictly looking at the new CBA that's going into effect, I'm looking at the premium that's going to be on draft picks. I'm looking at the age, the mean age of this team. And I know De'Aaron Fox is in that age. And I'm also looking at the sample size. Let's be real, has Fox and Sabonis worked? The Kings have won. They've won. They broke the playoff drought. But have they really made each other better? And I don't know the answer to that, Dash.
Yeah. Well, and to something you said, what scares me, Grant, is like, you're right. I mean, if we might beat the Jazz, but the rest of those games, Celtics, Thunder, Suns, I mean, man, this I didn't think we were gonna be in this spot. I thought we were gonna be maybe playing, maybe play up, but damn, maybe not even play-ins. Like, that's gonna be, it's a possibility now. It wasn't a possibility a month ago. Crazy.
Hey, Dash, I really enjoy your calls, man. You know your stuff. You're good, and you make our show better. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Have a great night.
He's good, man. That's good. That was great. It's tough to follow Baki, but Dash, you did a great job, man. That was a great call. Hey, I want to also tell you about Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. And if you go to CalusaSunrise.com, you can check out all of the Model 6 to choose from, different size lots, no Mellorews, no homeowners. Sunrise Landing in Calusa. Just go to CalusaSunrise.com and check it out for yourself. Great access to the major arteries such as I-5, Highway 20. It's a great location. Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. Just go to CalusaSunrise.com. Well, the Kings got some issues, and we'll see what happens coming up in the next game, Ryan. But I'm not too optimistic about anything right now.
No, Napes. And actually, can I make a confession on the air? Blazona might think that I have some issues too, because I was pulling up to the stoplight a couple days ago, and my son's in the car too. A Blazona truck pulls up next to me. I'm trying to get his attention. He doesn't see me. I'm like, yeah, Blazona! Honking my horn, and this guy's just rubbernecking me. It's like, what the hell? So I was trying to shout you guys out. It was good to see you.
I love it. I love it. All right, we will be with you. Ryan will have pregame, we'll have halftime, we'll have postgame, the Kings and Jazz. Some final thoughts, my friend?
You know what? The sun will rise tomorrow. Malik Monk he has been the guy that has kept this Kings team the last 2 years light. Grant, you've been around the team. You know, he keeps that room light. And I would ask the fan base, do the same tonight. This team's still in a great position. Don't make any judgments. Let's hope Malik's okay, Grant.
All right. To everyone else, thank you. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. Enjoy the weekend. It's tough one to digest tonight, but we appreciate you breaking it down with us right here on If You Don't Like That.